A new father out of Missouri is accused of horrible acts on his recently born child. Reportedly, 20-year-old Richard Leonard fractured 14 bones in his 2-month-old baby daughter's body. He claimed he did that by tripping over the child. On December 18th, Richard and his wife took the baby to a pediatrician who pointed out some bruising on the baby's body. It was said Richard was just not seeing the bruising, or said he didn't think it was bruising. That doctor then recommended to him and his wife that they take the baby to the hospital, and the doctor then called the Department of Family Services hotline in order to report possible signs of abuse. It was said authorities then conducted a home check at the request of the Department of Family Services, but they found that the child was in her mom's arms and seemed to be content. However, the very next day, police reportedly received a call from a hospital saying that the baby girl was brought in the night before with a total of 14 fractures in her arms, legs, and ribs and fingers, and the doctor reportedly said those were signs of classic abuse. It was also said that the baby girl had bruises on her shoulder, back, and face. So it was at that point that police said Richard claimed he dropped the baby after he tripped, but he then changed the story and said he fell on top of the baby when he tripped. The doctor reportedly said that would explain some of the injuries, but not all. It was said that the fractures were in various stages of healing, and that too was a sign of classic abuse. So when the child's mother was interviewed, she reportedly told police that she and Richard had been together since November of 2023. She said they got married in May and they had the child in October. She then reportedly said that she didn't think Richard was capable of hurting the baby, and she even started to question her own self about whether or not she could have injured the baby by rolling over on her when they co-slept together. She even questioned whether or not a jumping dog could have caused the injuries. However, she also reportedly told police that Richard was abused as a child and he was placed in the foster care system. Richard eventually came out and told police that the lack of sleep and the constant crying during diaper changes and his own anger issues got the best of him, and that resulted in him abusing the baby girl. Unreal. He also told police that when he was abused as a child, he would pull his hair out as a way to deal with the stress, and he had recently started back doing that. He said the stress was getting worse after he and his new wife moved into their new home and then having a baby, and that there was just too much going on at once. It was said, though, that the part that made him the most upset was the fact that the baby would cry when he tried to hold her, but I mean, can you blame her? He also allegedly told police that when the baby was really young, he had a problem with punching himself in the jaw. It was said she would wake up in the middle of the night and he would take the stress out on himself instead of with the baby, and he would bruise himself up. And then one day he decided to stop hurting himself, but unfortunately he then started hurting the baby. The affidavit reportedly said that he never hit the baby girl, he just roughly grabbed her, and he reportedly admitted to using more force than necessary when he would dress her or change her diaper, or even when swaddling her. He is now charged with child ABUSE, but he was reportedly released from the Lee County Prison, and that was after he paid $5,000 of his $50,000 bond. He is now not allowed to have contact with the child's mother or his daughter. The daughter is said to now be in the custody of the Department of Family Services. This is absolutely heartbreaking, but I'm afraid if they had not taken that child away, she might not be here today. For more true crime, be sure to give me a follow, and if you're on YouTube, be sure to subscribe.